All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Humanhood series brought to you by yours truly, Melanie Peralta and
Casey Riley.
A conversation devoted to humanizing your human experience and making personal development more personal. Today, we have a guest that I have envisioned on this platform since the conception of humanhood. And finally, the timing, the era, the energy is just right. Today, we have a best-selling author, a host of a top charting podcast, and the Powerhouse Woman. We've got Lindsey Marie in the house today.
I'm so excited to be here. The feeling is so mutual.
Dude, this has been much anticipated. Like, I even storied about it on the way here on my Instagram. I was like, you guys, we're on our way. I'm on my way to the studio right now. I've got a guest coming that I've been wanting for a long time. And just like I've been wanting you on the platform for a long time, but I've been wanting to connect with you just as a woman for a long time because it's been a while. You and I go way back, Lindsey.
We do.
We got some.
You know what just flashed in my mind was you and I and Vikai sitting outside at Chop Shop.
I thought about that this morning.
I think that was like kind of our first friend date.
It was.
And he was little.
He was so little. I know. I was thinking
ago.
about it. I was like, how funny that I brought my son to like a friend coffee date because I really didn't do that a lot when he was that age, but it was such a vibe.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah. So I met you, probably, let's see, 2016 or 2000. I think it might have been 2017 when I was doing my women's events. And you were building Powerhouse and we just came into each other's field and you came to my event.
Oh my, I wouldn't have missed it. It was incredible.
Thank you.
It was.
Yeah, you came to my event and that's how we connected. And then I started collaborating with you in Powerhouse. And then eventually when we did the Powerhouse mantra.
I'm having so many of these flashes in my mind as we're talking because that was the next one that came. It was when you were doing your moving mantras. Is that what you call them? So inspiring. And somehow, and this is literally how my life tends to work, and how, I think the magic of what people feel from Powerhouse are these moments where I lean in where there just feels like a genuine energetic connection. And you were creating these incredible musical mantras, and you created one for Powerhouse. We'll put the footage in. We need to share this with people because that was so special to me.
It was.
And you sang it live.
I did.
And we got everyone to sing along with you. It was such a beautiful moment.
It was.
And it was this moment where Powerhouse was really, it was the moment I surrendered to, oh, this is a thing. And a lot of people probably don't know that, but that was year 3. It took 3 years of annual events before I was like, oh, I think I'm doing this. I think this is a thing now. I should register it as a business and take it seriously.
Which was crazy because there was like 500 women there.
I think there was like 300.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, it was only 300.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it felt like 500 women in the room, but it was packed. Yeah. So that's interesting for it to be like to that point. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually a thing. There's hundreds of people here. Okay, so we absolutely want to dive into Powerhouse later on because we know that this year is the 10-year anniversary for your Powerhouse event. A freaking decade. Wow, dude. Just thinking about, I mean, obviously we've hosted events and stuff, but to do one at that scale for that long is amazing. So we will absolutely dive into that later in the conversation. But Casey and I, we always want to know about the human behind the thing. Yeah. So I want to learn a little bit more about Lindsey's roots. I'm like, was she the cool girl in high school?
No.
Like, was she shy? Like, can you just give us a little background of your upbringing and just your foundation before all the Powerhouse and the books and the podcast?
I love that question, and I just love the intention and the heart behind this podcast because I'm the same person. I want to know the human, like you say. So, gosh, it's so funny. My mom will come to the Powerhouse event, and people will always ask her this, like, did you see any of this in her? And the truth is, I didn't even see it in me. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm from Wisconsin originally. And, I guess when I truly look back, like if we look, like was there evidence of any of this in my child essence? There was this part of me that kind of was a little performer. I loved being in the school plays. I loved being a cheerleader and a dancer. And I just loved performing. I loved the connection with an audience is essentially what I was feeling. And that wasn't so much celebrated in a smaller town. It was pretty traditional Midwest, a lot of beautiful people, hardworking people, but not a lot of big dreams. And it wasn't until I moved to Arizona after college and just, I think, was exposed to a different environment of seeing what was really possible that I think it stoked a fire. It connected with that part of me that probably was always there. But to answer your question, I was so not cool. I really wasn't. I still remember this. So I went through like the physically awkward phase where really thick glasses. We're talking, your girl was blind. And when my adult teeth grew in, they grew in with like brown stains on the front. So I literally looked like kids at school.
How'd you get rid of that?
The dentist had to do like some buffing process that was pretty painful.
Like you have great teeth.
I know. Like now people are like, your smile is so white. I'm like, look at me. We can share for the people just to see. And, I wasn't super confident in myself. I was someone who just was always, I think, wanting to feel cool. I wanted to feel pretty. I wanted to feel popular. And I kind of felt like I was always just shy of that. Went to a really small school, preschool through 8th grade. So I graduated 8th grade with a class of 9 kids.
Wow.
And then went to public high school. And when I tell you the depth of like not being cool, I wore a sweater vest the first day of high school with these little khakis. And now I guess that trend is kind of coming back, but let me just say it was not the trend at that point. And just
what inspired that look? I need to know.
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. And I was like a rule follower. I was so precious and just like, I think the archetype of the good girl, a lot of that conditioning was embedded in me. And so it was beautiful. I was like raised with so much love. I'm the eldest daughter. I'm an eldest daughter Capricorn, so that's like a double whammy when it comes to like the ambitious side. And I think that's the part I struggled with, is it always felt like that part of me was too much. And it wasn't until, again, moving to a new state and I think just going on this personal development journey to connect more with the fact that that power that I feel is a part of me. It's a big part of who I am, and I've gone through a beautiful journey that I'm sure we can dive into all the nooks and crannies of just coming to terms and really accepting and owning that part of myself, because it's very different than the conditioning that I grew up in, which was more, you should make people comfortable. And I was really good at that for a really long time.
Did the eldest daughter role, did that really have an influence on your personality as well? But by the way, how many siblings do you have?
I'm the oldest of 3, so I have a brother in the middle and a younger sister. We're all about 3.5 years apart. I mean, the answer is like it still does to this day.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm the
absolutely.
oldest daughter too, so I get it.
Yeah.
How did it affect you?
I'm learning so much more about that part of myself. Even just recently, my mom came to visit, and I texted a girlfriend while she was here. I'm like, please don't show her this. I mean this with so much love, but I said, dude, I cannot wait to share with you what I got out of my last mushroom journey. And I said, by mushroom journey, I mean 10 days with my mom here. Because it's like, you see your role in the family unit.
Yeah.
And it was 10 days uninterrupted. It was so beautiful and so healing. And to go back to your question, I think what I'm seeing now as a 42-year-old woman is how much I have taken on the role of just being responsible for everyone and everything. And I can't do it anymore. And so there's this part of me that's grieving that's the way I used to connect with my family. And a part of it, no one ever asked me to be that. No one ever assigned that role. I think it's natural when you're the one who grows up and probably also is a Capricorn to take charge and to be like, well, I'll figure this out, or I don't want to have needs. I don't want to be a burden to people. And a lot of those same learned behaviors that are really celebrated have also been the source of some of my greatest suffering, if I'm being honest. And so learning to undo that, learning to include my own needs in the equation, learning to allow people to support me, especially going through some of the things I've gone through over the last 2 years, feels so physically uncomfortable because I'm not used to allowing myself to be held. I'm used to being the one who's holding others.
Oh, God, I relate to that so much. I cry over that often.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. So what has that looked like for you? Like, can you give an example to the people who are listening and maybe they're in that same exact space too, or maybe they're needing to step into that? What has that looked like for you, like out loud?
So the best way to answer that is probably through the lens of over the last 2 years, I've gone through just a complete shedding of everything that I had once attached my identity to, which is just a casual Wednesday conversation to have. But when I say like the depths of feeling stripped of my sense of certainty, my sense of who I am, my sense of what felt safe, it was a very disorienting process. And along the way, I've noticed that where I get triggered is where I feel like people aren't showing up for me. And then if I'm really honest, and this is a big part of my own personal development process, I ask a deeper question, not through the lens of making myself wrong for it, but to question and challenge my own thinking. So in the moment, I may be having an experience where I feel like, gosh, this friend isn't showing up for me and I really need someone right now. And then I'll ask, okay, did you say that? Did you make it clear? And what has been reflected back, I have some of just the most incredible women in my life, the most incredible girlfriends, and some of these reflections have even come from strangers that I think it's just helped me see myself and see that, to me, I was going through this really deeply painful experience. And the way I was coping with it was the way I have coped with everything my entire life, which is not to show a lot of vulnerability or weakness. But I was having such a strong internal experience in allowing myself to feel deeper. I didn't realize that other people on the outside thought I was fine. Yeah. And it was like a really honest girlfriend who was like, dude, are you okay? Like, you just told me the most traumatic thing that happened to you as though you were reading the dinner menu. Like, you said it as though it wasn't a big thing. And it was just a moment to step back and look at, man, in those moments that I deeply want to feel connected. And maybe I have the opposite experience where I don't feel like someone is really acknowledging my pain or they're not meeting me the way that I need to. Equal parts holding space for the fact that that hurts sometimes, but also looking within to see the deeper pattern that keeps me disconnected from people. And it's not it's my deep unwillingness to say, I am not okay right now. Like, those are the hardest words for me to even say to myself, much less to other people. So the last 2 years have taught me a lot, especially now in having more distance and I'm not in the visceral experience of the nervous system response to it, that I can see with a little bit more clarity. I can see even with more grace for the people in my life that I didn't actually let them know how much I was suffering, because I was doing everything that I needed to do to just be okay and get through that really tough part of the season. So now it's realizing that the moment isn't over, and now I can still go back to those relationships and say, here's something I learned about myself through going through that. I don't share when I'm really not okay, and I want to be better at it. And I just have a lot of really awkward conversations of trying to tell people what my feelings are because I'm not used to it. It's I'm used to handling shit on my own.
Yeah.
And so there was a beautiful moment when my mom was here, my mom mushroom journey. And there were no mushrooms involved.
I got really excited when you said that.
No, I think I was actually microdosing on and off. I was microdosing around that time, but there were some beautiful moments where I think like the best answer, and anyone who's on a deep personal development journey, you realize that a lot of the medicine lies in meeting yourself in the moment where there's a trigger, noticing what your default response is, and then doing the opposite. So there was a moment, some emotion came up, right? Because I'm with my mother, who my first 3.5 years of life we were inseparable. We were literally together 24/7. So her nervous system is my nervous system. And now I'm as an adult confronted with, I'm with the mirror of that. And so a lot is coming to the surface. And I noticed I was having this moment where a lot of emotion, even some anger on the surface was coming up. And I was in my bathroom getting ready. And I noticed myself. I wanted to just stay behind closed doors and handle it. And then bring her the smiling, happy version on the other side. Because I know how to work through a trigger. I'm like, I got this. And then I sat with myself and I was like, what's the least comfortable thing right now? It would be to let her witness me in this breakdown moment and say, hey, like this trigger is coming up. You didn't do anything wrong, but here's what I'm feeling and here's what I need right now. And I leaned in. And it was awkward and messy, and I noticed myself over-explaining my feelings, and I just let myself be new at something that I'm still learning how to be with. Because in the aftermath, there was so much more connection present, and that's ultimately everything that I want comes down to connection.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm so glad that you shared that, because I think on our journeys of personal development and just leveling up who we are and becoming the powerhouse woman, there's so many times where we're applying these personal development things or these character upgrades to the business or the brand or the content or the creations, and we don't realize that majority of that work, majority of the character up leveling happens in those tiny moments and is applied to those experiences, because beyond the business, beyond the brand, things like the relationships with our parents, the relationships with our siblings or our best friends, those are truly the most sacred things of life. So thank you for sharing that, because I personally have never heard you share a personal development process through a familial moment like that. I'm always very familiar with you sharing those things when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yeah. So that's why I've been super excited about this process, because I know there's so much more to you. We're going to keep digging into those layers. So I want to circle back to you back in school and saying, oh, I wasn't necessarily the cool girl, but it's like eventually you became her. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't.
I still don't feel necessarily. I think what the little version of me thought cool was. And because it's not what I thought it was. I didn't mean to cut you off the second half of your question though, but it's funny. I think it's interesting watching how people observe me. And then my own experience of me is I'm just me. I don't know if I'm cool or not, because I think cool is like, what is cool even?
So the outside perspective of cool is based off of whoever's viewing. But to me, when I look at cool, I think it's the girl who just owns who she is. Like back then, maybe you didn't have a solid identity, but now you're so Lindsey. You know, and you really own that, which is why you're able to go on your social media with a bandage on your nose and tell people what happened to you. Like, to me, that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? So at some point in your journey, you had to navigate through getting to the point where you were owning more of who you are, owning your gifts, and then stepping up and saying, I'm going to do these things. Can you take us from the journey of being the girl in the vest to then just evolving into getting that courage and that confidence to just saying yes to your own ideas? Because there had to have been a significant shift in that time. Like, what was that?
It's the true answer is it's been layers, like, and I'm finding new layers every single day of layers that I'm peeling off, right? Layers that I'm uncovering underneath the things that unknowingly I thought would make me cool, or I thought would make me significant, I thought would make me feel worthy. And what's so beautiful is I think age has a way of doing this. We were talking about this off camera, and going through really hard shit, and realizing, I think, in the most painful moments of my life have been the most profound in my growth, because it's this moment where whatever is happening, there have been some really pivotal ones, especially along my journey of building Powerhouse Women, which has been the more public-facing evolution that people have seen, where I'll essentially get this moment to meet my deepest fear and insecurity about myself, but with another person's face. And that's all that's happening, right? When we're triggered, or when someone abandons us, when someone criticizes us, they're just putting on loudspeaker the thing that we already feel. It's been running behind the scenes anyway. And I've really, without realizing I was doing it, I think I've always met those moments with that attitude of like, wow, there's something here for me because this hurts so much. And if I'm sitting with what I'm making this mean, and really, again, dig deeper into, well, what I think this means about me isn't what this other person is even saying. Sure, they may think that. They may think I'm unlovable, or think I'm this, or think I'm whatever they may be projecting onto me. But all that matters at the end of the day is like, do I believe that shit? And in those moments, I remember there was one kind of like pivotal moment at the very start of Powerhouse Women, where I was like pretty publicly in my circle at that time, got criticized by someone who I had allowed to get really close, and I just had to sit with like, why is this hurting so much? Because I don't believe what this person is saying, but a part of me did. And it was this moment where I got to choose, no, what do I believe about myself? And I think that's the energy that people are really feeling from me, even in going through, my divorce and some of the other things that have profoundly changed who I am as a person, profoundly changed how I see myself. Because before, I was operating as this version of myself that I thought was authentic at the time. And it was the most authentic version I had been, but there was a lot I wasn't facing. So if you welcome the opportunity to go into those layers and really be with, like, again, I have sat with some of the most painful things that I never thought I could even physically survive. And the result on the other side is a deeper connection with, like, I know who I am. That's the energy, like, that we call authenticity. That's the energy even that feels the most magnetic when you kind of can't put your finger on it. I notice the way the world responds to me. But what's so wild, right, is we think it's all the other stuff that's going to get that energy to come to us, meaning that magnetic energy where shit just flows and miracles happen and cool stuff's going on, and you're just kind of unaffected by it because you don't need it anymore. When, like, the chasing and the pursuing of it is a beautiful journey that was part of my journey. And I kind of had, I think of it like I'm not a parent, but like I've babysat enough and been around enough toddlers to know sometimes you just got to let them wear themselves out. And I kind of feel like the performer side of us is like that. Yeah. Like, she needs to have her era where she's like, I'm going to take over the world. And it's driven by, because I feel like if I do that, then I'm significant. Yeah. And you kind of gotta burn that out a little bit. And then eventually your soul's like, are you ready now?
I feel like, are you ready
for the real journey? And I just think, like, I really have gone through so many versions of that. And I wouldn't change it. I would not change any of it for the world, because the contrast, right? The contrast of how I felt building my network marketing business before Powerhouse Women, which was so, like, just driven by a different energy. Then now I have the contrast to feel when I'm dipping into an energy of trying to force or make things happen versus letting them flow. So that's why Powerhouse Women has been more successful, and it has a different vibe to it. I'm kind of going through that now on, like, the personality level, where I'm just not, like, I'm not trying to force anything, because I know the truth that the people I'm surrounded by don't define whether or not I'm cool. How I feel about myself is ultimately what the world is going to see. And I just love myself more than I ever have. And it's taken those moments of being confronted with things that I thought meant I was fundamentally unlovable, for me in that moment to be like, which story do I want to choose? Am I going to choose to believe and go forward living as though I'm unlovable, and then try to overcompensate and prove, and that energy that just is so heavy? Or realizing, like, no, in this moment right now, feeling my most unlovable ever, I can choose to first love me and that's a process, right? And claim the truth that has always been there, which is that I am worthy, I am lovable. But you can't just say that. Like, we can say that like as an affirmation, but you can feel the difference when someone embodies that. And I think that's what people are feeling from me now. It has come at a cost, but I would truly not go back and change anything, not a single thing.
Yeah. I saw you take a deep breath as she was saying a few things that was coming up for you, friend.
Yeah, I just feel like listening to everything that you're sharing, what's coming up for me is I feel like this is just womanhood.
Yeah.
As you get older, because so much of what you're sharing, I feel like bits and pieces. I'm seeing myself in that story. I'm 35 years old.
Yes.
I know you're in your 40s now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, taking off the masks, coming back to your authentic self, meeting these like edges when you feel unworthy or unlovable, or the performance bullshit. Oh my gosh, when you were like, you finally put the performance down, I was like, I literally just had a flashback of all the performing times in my life, but it's so needed in that moment to get you to where you are.
Yep.
But thank you for being so deep and vulnerable on this, because I think any woman in their 30s is like listening to this story being like, this is the point in your journey where I see myself. And it's just great to know that these challenges and struggles come with a gift on the other side, because it feels so deep while you're in it. But I do have a question for you, going back a little bit, when you said in your family dynamic you were the peacemaker or the person who had no needs. That really spoke to me as well. And then you shared the experience with your mom and that it went over really well on her 10-day stay with you. But I'm curious how that has felt being someone who now has needs and who's now vocalizing it to your friends, to your family. And if anyone has met you with any type of resistance, like, oh, you're the easygoing one. Like, why are you speaking now?
And let me even kind of refine what I said about, like, it went well because I didn't need it to be received in a certain way to feel like it went well. It went well because I made space for my own needs. And the truth is, in the moment of delivering it, it was even a little awkward because it changed the dynamic. And I let it be okay that it caused some discomfort in the receiving end, and it felt uncomfortable for me because I was changing a pattern. That was the moment, like when I say it went well, it's because I created a new neural pathway for myself in even knowing it doesn't matter how it's received. I get to know and I prove to myself that my needs are valid when I make space for them. So that part, it was not met with complete resistance, but I get what you're saying, because I think the fear is, well, what if it's met with the complete opposite? And the truth is, that is a beautiful moment to just reveal to any of us, like, well, what comes up in that moment when you express the need, you break the pattern. Like, can you be curious enough about your own internal reaction to it to get the medicine? Because the truth is, it never actually matters what someone else is doing. They're having their own experience. That's not really any of our business. And in that moment, I think it's such an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. Like, where do I go? Where do I default to? What does this mean about me? And in anything, I think there's always an opportunity to, over time, allow there to be, like, my intention going into these conversations is always, no, I want more connection. Even in the moment, if it feels like there's less connection at first, there's the opportunity for more authentic connection. And that means the possibility on the other side is greater than what I'm currently experiencing. I have to be the one who's brave enough to stand in the unknown and in that tension. That's the hardest part, because my mind right away wants to go to the resolution. I'm a peacemaker. Yeah. So right away I can think of 10,000 scenarios for how to make this right and how to make the other person comfortable. And that would be self-abandoning. Yes. So it's like this little dance of, like, I could do it, but I'm not going to. I'm good, But maybe the better example to give, and I haven't shared about this super publicly. The reason I'm always careful and just mindful sharing about familial stuff is, you're hearing my side of it. You're not hearing the other person's side. But my brother who's in the middle and his whole family are completely estranged from us right now and have no desire for reconnection, no desire to repair the relationship. And I think that's probably the relationship where when you're talking about that dynamic, it's the hardest because my role in the family is I'm going to fix it. And so I've spent the last 3, almost 4 years since this has been going on trying everything in my power to, like, maybe I need to look deeper at myself. Maybe I need to this, that. And I finally got to a point where I was like, maybe I just need to let it be for now. And realize that, like, whatever is happening on a soul level, on a cosmic level, I actually just can't control. So can I love? Can I still create the feeling of connection and love in my heart for them, even if they don't want to receive it? And not force it upon them, because that's also forcing my own agenda. Yeah. So it's like, I think all of us have this shit that goes on underneath the surface and behind the scenes that, you know, some of it I share publicly, some of it I'm just mindful always of the other person involved, because that's my disclaimer here is like, you're hearing my version of it, right, but there's a whole other side that if they were sitting here, they might say that I really am an asshole and I deserve to be cut off, right? And like, can I hold enough space? Like, I think that's what true growth is being able to hold that, like, both are true. If we're going to be really honest, both are true, because their reality is their truth, my reality is mine. And if I don't need to be perceived in a certain way, I think there's more space for, again, the resolution that I want, whether it's on this side of eternity or when we're souls again and we're like, oh, that was dumb. You know, why were we fighting?
Yeah.
But just to be okay with, like, okay, this is my reality right now. Can I choose to love whatever this is showing me? And the part right now that specific dynamic is showing me is I actually can't control so much more than I thought I could in my life.
I relate so deep to that. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that estranged family dynamics is one of those things that aren't really talked about, and I'm in one myself. Yeah. And that's a topic that I tread very lightly with, just out of respect for everyone in our roles. And I'm the fixer too. So not being able to go in and fix because you physically can't, that has been such a process and healing process for me to be like, this is out of your control. You don't gotta fix it. Like, you have to literally sit here and just go through your process and pray that everyone's growing and learning and moving through their own process before your souls meet again. So thank you for sharing that, because the estranged family stuff, I feel like it's like this secret people don't want to talk about because it's like dirty to be like, oh, I got cut off or I cut them off or whatever. And it's like, no, actually that's just normal part of life. Yeah. Sometimes you need some separation from each other.
Sometimes you all just need some space.
No, to figure yourself out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, because it's deeply painful, and I think it feels deeply personal, because it's almost like it cuts so close to home, because it's like, no, this person like should know me better than anyone else, and they don't want to be in my life. Like, ooh, what does that say about me? Right. So I've gotten to sit with all of, like, again, it's been the most potent medicine in what it's shown me about myself, but I still, again, don't prefer it. Yeah, like, I really don't. And I don't think it needs, I think when you're the one who's done personal development too, you're like, it doesn't need to be this way.
Yes.
But maybe it does. Again, that's my need to control and wanting things to, like, look a certain way. I just get to be with the fact that I can't control it. Yeah.
And I'm kind of at this place where it doesn't need to be this way, but it does temporarily. Otherwise, I know myself, I would not have grown to the person who I am with those ties. So it actually was necessary for me and our dynamic, but ultimately it doesn't have to be this way if everyone can show up as their best selves in the relationship.
And that's the truth right there, because when I say, in the moments that I've said it doesn't need to be this way, it was because I wasn't willing to see that it still did. The fact that it is that way means that on a soul level, it does need to be that way. Am I willing to look for, no, why is this why it needs to be right now? What is this still showing me about myself? What am I still resisting? What am I not willing to see and look at? And those have been the harder questions. I really resonate with that.
Oh, just as Casey's friend, I'm so glad you talked about this, because this has been a topic that she has been needing to share about for a little while. And we haven't had any people on the podcast who have, like, been able to share a personal story that resonated with her as much as that. So just as your friend, I'm so happy that you just got to dive into that a little bit. So with that, I would really love to segue into the topic of how you moved through such a public heartbreak. Because even just talking right now about like, it doesn't have to be like that, but maybe it does need to be like that. And I was somebody on the outside of your relationship that was like, I love them. They're so great. This is like a staple couple in, you know, at these events and stuff like that. But obviously, even going back to what you said earlier, I would have never known that you were going through what you were going through because you were holding it together so well. And I remember when I saw you at Powerhouse, like before everything started, and you had shared with me that that's what was happening. And when you talked about nobody would have known that I wasn't okay, I really had no idea either, because when you shared it with me that like you were reading the menu, you know. So I felt that. But then later on, you so beautifully started showing up on social media when you were ready, which was also a really amazing, admirable part, because I'm sure there was a lot of pressure. Motherfuckers are nosy.
Oh
People
For real. I'm not even like an actual celebrity. I can't imagine that, like that level, but people
are nosy. And so I'm sure there was pressure to like inform people before you were ready to, and things like that. But moving through that process, you had the decision. You could have been like, you know what? I do have this very public relationship that everybody, and this is my name, that everybody has known me as the wife of this person and all of that stuff. You could have decided that you weren't going to create that separation. You could have been like, you know what? I don't want to change my name. I don't want to go through this public separation. Let me just, you know, self-sacrifice, like you had mentioned. So what was that process like for you? Did you have to make that type of decision of going back and forth if you wanted to save and preserve everything that looked like, and the brand and all of that? Or was it a full fuck no, I'm out, this is why, let's keep it pushing? Like, what was that process like for you?
And when you're asking that question, do you mean like ultimately the choice to leave the marriage?
Yeah. Like, was it something that you really had to sit with because of the brand, or were you like, I'm getting a divorce?
Yeah. I mean, I think as the years have gone on, so it's almost 2 years to the day of kind of just like this critical point and moment in that process. And part of why I didn't share a lot of it early on is I knew it would change. I knew that like when you're in it and you're being affected by it, you want to say things that you might not want to be public later on. And so I've always tried to approach like sharing this with the same disclaimer that I shared everything else. Like, this is my personal journey, and when it's two people, there's two deeply personal journeys and versions of it. And so I'm sharing it from my view of things, but I think I also have overcorrected in wanting to be and preserve his reputation, when, if I'm just honest about the facts, there was just a complete break in trust that was no longer, it was like there was no way to come back from and still honor my commitment to myself. I ultimately had to choose, am I going to stay committed to this relationship, and is there enough mutual commitment there for me to make that choice and feel good about it, or is the truest answer for me in this moment to honor my commitment to self? And you know, it's been, I think the hardest part about it has been again, I don't actually really care what anyone else thinks, but I think I have enough awareness of just sort of how I would maybe be perceiving something from the outside looking in. Because even for myself, I think I've had that moment to go like, was that all a lie? Like, does one moment of, and not even moment, because it was a deeper experience of like a lot of lies and betrayal that was uncovered, But in that moment, it makes you look back on everything and go, like, was it all a lie? Like, was I gaslighting myself? And the truth is that what people felt from our relationship, and truly what I know I experienced, was so true. Mm-hmm. And I think we have and had, you know, at that part of the journey we traveled together where our lives were one, I think we have a very karmic contract. Mm. And I think it's unfortunate that it had to end the way that it did, but I think there was opportunity for both of us to actually heal our deepest wounds in the midst of how it happened. So without like using super vague language for anyone who doesn't know what I'm saying here, so I was married for 13 years, was pretty public with my relationship, and truly I think people felt like a very best friend energy from us, and it felt like that. It even felt like that in the marriage. And, and over time, I think it just started to reveal itself that we were traveling on different paths, but I never imagined it would lead to us not being together until it was kind of a critical moment where we went through a loss together of a pet. And, I think those moments kind of bring to the surface what's truly underneath, and I think it just brought up for both of us very different things. But ultimately, in that same season, he started having an affair that I found out about later, and it just it rocked my entire world. I mean, to say that I never thought, truly never thought that would happen, but then to be kind of faced with the decision of what to do with that information, I think what I want to be more open with sharing kind of what led up to it, because I do think for women, a lot of women are navigating different relationship transitions, but it ultimately came down to, I realized, I think in that moment, how much there was a pattern within me to overcorrect and think, if I can just make this person happy, then if they're happy, then we can be happy. And I did that just to the extent of abandoning so much of what I wanted and needed, and there wasn't a lot of open communication. And so it was this jarring moment that had me start to filter things through this question of what is most loving to me. And what was most loving to me was to confront directly and have a very honest conversation and attempt to hear out okay, how did we get to this point? And just to continue operating through the lens of what does love for self look like in this situation? And it did look like going against what my internal, my default nature was. So it was things like having really open and honest conversations, being really clear on boundaries, okay, if this is still continuing, here's what that looks like. And if I remember being in this moment where I just kind of knew. I was if anything, I think the fact that a relationship that was so beautiful got to this moment, I think there's something for us both to learn here about what happened that it got to this moment. And how I was operating was, I want to stay in this dynamic, although it's so painful and it's so everything in me wants to run right now. I want to learn what this has for me, because that or I'm going to repeat it in another relationship, and no thank you.
Right.
Let me go straight to the source of what's actually happening here. And I think, again, I was ready because of where I was at in my personal development journey to get that honest with myself. And so I say this through with the utmost compassion. I just don't think he was ready to be that honest with himself. So I was doing the inner work. We were kind of in this limbo phase of, what does this mean for us? And ultimately, the truth of it is, don't fuck around on a woman who's tapped in spiritually, because she just will find out. That's what I want to say to the people, Mel.
Yeah.
There was a moment I clearly communicated, hey, either we're in this and we're kind of just discovering what does this mean for us. We may or may not stay together, but there can be no more continuation of this other relationship. You don't get to have a girlfriend and a wife. That's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the moment, and I felt so, again, it was I was advocating for myself. I don't know what I want to do, because I never expected to be in this situation, and I love this person so deeply, and I believe that like these breaking points can actually be breaking points that create closer connection. Like I really believed in that, and I was operating in that intent, and I'm so proud. I really am so proud of myself for that. Like I honored myself, I honored my promise to this person, and it doesn't mean anything about him or I that he didn't, other than I just think he was at a point where he wasn't willing to do that like inner work to repair it. And so yeah, there's a pretty funny story that maybe I'll share someday about just, again, I just call it D-Day. There was a D-Day where it was like, okay, then with velocity, I will move forward with what I said I would do if this line was crossed, and if I discover that we haven't kept what we just said we would, at least in this interim phase, and just don't fuck around on a spiritual woman. She will find out.
She will find out.
The Holy Spirit will make
she
sure
will
she
dream
finds
about it. It'll come to her in some crazy way. Like that happened to me. Earlier last year? That happened to me too, girl. I was like, oh, divine message, bloop, from the randomest. Oh, okay, I peeked that. Okay, so I'm just so curious because there's this process that we have to move through with the man, right? Like when you go through infidelity like that and distrust, but then there's a process that we have to go through with the woman. The woman who, especially when you're like, I know you knew this was my man. So then there's like this, there's the process of like the trust, or I mean, for me, sometimes my Scorpio can like, I'm not a spiteful person, but I'm a spicy bitch for real.
See, I'm a Capricorn, so I will cut you off and do it with a smile on my face and secretly go and build an entire empire, and then just be like, you missed it.
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius, so I'll just disassociate. She's like up here.
Bounce,
Go to the clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, so like now I'm in this space in my life where I have to work hard to contain my fire. I do. I have to work hard to contain my spiciness, because I used to be a very confrontational person in my past. Like I was fiery, And so throughout that process, was it easy for you to just prioritize your relationship with him and what that meant for you guys, and just disassociate from the woman that was involved? Or did you have a process of that too? Because that's how these woman wounds happen. That's how these things are created, where women out there, then they don't trust other women, and like the damage is done in a certain type of way. Was there anything that you went through with that, or was that an easier thing for you to just bypass and just keep it pushing?
Man, no one has asked me that before. And I think, what that gave me the opportunity to reflect when you were going in on that question, what I thought you were going to say, which is actually the answer that I'm going to give, when you said there's this whole part about like the relationship with him. And then and I thought you were going to say the relationship with self. Because, as much as, yes, it's like, especially the version of the story that I would share if we were just sitting down over cocktails, and just like the wild way that, like, again, it all comes to the surface in the way that it's meant to. But in the same way, I really say this with my whole heart, had the marriage not ended like that, had it not been the feeling of betrayal, feeling of being abandoned, trigger every wound I had around not being enough sexually, I wouldn't have gotten the healing that I needed. Had we just lovingly sat down together and said, hey, needs aren't being met in the marriage and we're on different paths, like let's just part beautifully, I wouldn't have been brought to a place in myself. Like all of that was operating under the surface. Until it gets triggered, you can't see it to heal it.
Yeah.
So I and thank God for mushrooms, because I was microdosing through this entire experience. Like truly, I had felt led to going through a therapeutic assisted microdosing protocol weeks before all of this started to unfold. I don't think that's by accident.
Oh, no.
Because it helped me just, I think, gain perspective. I notice about myself, my deepest wounds, even if you look at my astrology chart, really have to do more with the masculine. It's why people see like the friendships that I have with women, and because that part does come easy to me. And so even with that, it changed how public I will be with future relationships, because I do think, again, in the same way that if people are just looking at even like just my Instagram, and I do try to share more of everything now, but if they're just looking at the highlight, they don't know it all. This was a person who very much knew exactly who I was, has attended the Powerhouse Women event. Like, it's like, to understand that someone sees the thing that you have, because I only showed the highlight reel. Of course, I'm not going to share like the fights I'm having with the person I'm married to.
Right.
And I think there can be this feeling of like, well, I want what she has. And so I just didn't really need to do anything with that energy. Because truly, if someone can come in and take a person away from you, you never had the relationship that you thought you had in the first place, you know?
Right.
So oddly enough, that part hasn't to this point. Let's see, maybe when I'm in another relationship, maybe that will, I've really intentionally gone into the healing process not wanting to carry beliefs about men or women.
Smart.
Because the truth is, it's like, that's all just our pain. Someone who feels entitled to someone else's spouse, that's their pain.
Right.
And I'm not saying that doesn't make it okay at all, but I don't need to worry about that. I get to tend to the things that are coming up in me, because that's going to be my most direct path to healing. That was a selfish decision that I made to not get distracted unless it was something that was showing me and triggering something in me that could help me heal deeper. I just was like, I am not going to waste a single ounce of this pain.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. Like, I think it just was like a higher self experience of realizing that, you know, I went through a lot of loss all at once. We lost a soulmate pet. I went through a business separation. And in that same, like within weeks, all of this happened, and then discovered the infidelity, and then was thrust into a divorce. And I just knew, like, you don't go through something like that all at once unless it's really trying to show you something. So I really did lean in fully and just commit to the journey, knowing, and maybe it was like just enough hope to get me through the pain of it, just knowing that if I didn't waste this opportunity to see parts of myself that I wasn't willing to see, there has to be something on the other side that was worth it.
Yeah.
There just has to be. So it hasn't really left me with anything other than, like, I truly do look at all of it. I can say this now. I can see the gifts in it. But even like that feels a little inauthentic to just say that. And I'm like really sitting with, whenever I'm sharing about this, like, no, what's the part maybe that I'm not saying? There was so much anger. There's so much anger and rage. And like, I got to process that to the point where now I still don't carry it. I don't carry like the belief that means anything about me or women in general. I just think we're all figuring this out.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And even just bringing that last part in about like, I was angry. Like, I had a lot of rage. I think when people go through stuff like that, we do, especially the personal development people, we be trying to process shit so gracefully, you know, we just want to like keep it together and stay as calm and cool and collected as possible. But even the episode that we dropped today, it's like every now and then a crash out is necessary. Yeah. Like every now and then you do just need to break down and let the things be felt. Stop trying to play so perfect and so polished, even just with yourself, not even like in front of people, but even just with yourself. Stop trying to hold it all together so much to where you're not actually honoring what's there. Yeah. Like, let that be, cry it out, yell it out, scream it out, whatever you got to do to maneuver through that. But the bigger picture here for everybody who's listening, because infidelity and just these types of experiences, so many people go through that. And even when you were saying like the dog had died and the business partner had separated, there's a lot of people out there that really do get into victim mode in spaces like that. And then that's when the sayings like, oh, when it rains it pours, or if it's one thing after another, or why is this happening to me and stuff. So if you guys are listening to this conversation right now, just just thank you, Lindsey, for being such a beautiful example of what it gets to look like, of maneuvering through those things, but staying anchored into a bigger, brighter hope that there is a deeper purpose for this suffering, for this pain, and there is something on the other side of it for me. Because when you're in the thick of it, man, it doesn't always feel that way. Like when you're in the thick of it and you're feeling like you're at your rock bottom, or you're trying to just peel yourself out of bed or something like that, it's hard to see the why on the other side. It's hard to see the rainbow after the storm, but I can totally relate. And even you sharing about, you know, moving forward, I'm probably not going to be as public with my relationships. That is something that I'm like really, really in that space as well. Like kind of teeter totter on like how open I want to be about my love. And it's like such a, I'm honestly, I'm fucking terrified. Like I am, oh God, I could get emotional about it. I feel so afraid to be wrong over and over again.
Like to go public with someone
Yes.
and have it not work out.
Yeah, because I was in a 6-year relationship, you know, and I shared my relationship and then that didn't work out. And then obviously like I have a son with a man and that didn't work out. So then there's like this fear of, there's this part of me that like I'm in a relationship now and I'm so in love with my high school boyfriend. It's the most
Wait, that's so precious.
I know. It's literally, and we were best friends in middle school, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend in high school. Yeah. And then after I graduated, I went off, did my music career, you know, life separated us, like all this stuff. And then life brought us back together. And he's like, you've always been my soulmate, Melanie. I was
waiting for you.
No, literally. He was like, I always knew. And I was like, I had no idea. He was like, yeah, I always knew this was a possibility. I was just like always staying open for this possibility. I was like, wow, I'm glad one of us was.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. But I'm in that, like, I'll share him a little bit, but I won't share his face. I'll share his hands doing the Rubik's Cube.
I've noticed.
I'm so proud of his Rubik's Cube skills.
Yes, that was the one I said the other day. Yeah, totally.
Show his face, Mel.
But I'm terrified. Yeah. I'm so scared. And I'm like, maybe when we're 5 years in, but then even then, like that's not a guarantee. So I'm in this this delicate balance of like, I am so excited about this thing. I love it so much that I want to share it, but then simultaneously I'm terrified to share it because then what if eventually it doesn't work out? So that's like something for me that I'm navigating. And I just realized like some of the vulnerability blocks that I'm having when it comes to social media. And first of all, I just want to even thank you because your vulnerability now, like you did go quiet for a little while on social media, which I honor and respect because you got to do that when you're moving through your own things. But then you made this comeback where you just started sharing in a different type of way than you ever have before. And I feel like I've been like studying you because of it, because shout out to this platform. It has been a beautiful space and place for Casey and I to share. It really has. It feels like a very safe place, but I want to do that more on social media. And I've just been feeling this block to doing it. And I've been seeing you do it so gracefully, so masterfully, honestly. And it does feel like some sort of shift that happened within you that when you came back, you were like, hey guys. Like, in a different type of way. Do you feel that for yourself?
Yeah, and I think again, it was like a lot of internal shifting, but then also just listening to the way others perceive me, not through the lens of like, do they think I'm cool? But hearing that they were missing a lot of the depth that I do bring to my really deep friendship connections. Or, you know, I have a podcast. I feel like I've shared really openly on the podcast. And realizing like, I don't think that's translating to social media, because I noticed, what I started to notice, I just was missing this opportunity to really, again, connect with people, to just like truly connect. And I also have this whole, we could go on this whole other tangent, the energetic connection between love and money. So I'm always looking at like, what is my business showing me about my love life? What is my love life showing me about my business? And this theme kept, again, when I sit with myself, so a lot of this is like intuitively, like when I sit and like in quiet meditation, and I just really like ask my soul, like what am I not seeing about, like, I deeply desire partnership and connection and like true intimacy. Like I have a Scorpio stellium. Like I want to just know your soul. Like upon first meeting, I just want to know everything about someone's, like the depths of them. So I have that part of me, and I want to connect in that way. And then it was just sort of this like reflective question back on me, like, are you showing? And I think there's a way to do it. That doesn't mean showing, like airing out all of our stuff, or
Right.
I gave space for the things that I was moving through to have their time. But then there was this point where I realized it never felt ready to share. And a lot of what I think I'm getting, again, these intuitive pings on now is, how do I put this into words? I want to be deeply loved and deeply known in my life, by my friends, by my family, by my future lovers, however many of them there are, right? Like I don't know that I will just love one person in this lifetime. Maybe I'm meant to love many and have these like deep connections. And what creates that depth, I like started to study like where are the relationships where that depth is present. It's the people who are brave enough to go first and show their shit to me, and then I feel safe enough to show mine to them.
Right.
So I just started to look at like, no, where's the limit to that with my social media? Where's the limit to that within my romantic relationships? And so even, you know, I'm not dating anyone right now, and I'm still open to it, but in setting that intention and just like being really reflective on, well, okay, if I want that, how do I get to show up as that right now? And the one place I kept coming back to was social media, as I just think social media is like the perfect tool. It's the perfect mirror to our own inner work with our ability to see ourselves. So I just started to notice, like, what are the things that I start to feel like, I don't want to share that? And just, can I free myself enough to just say it? And then deal with whatever shows up internally, like whatever my nervous system response is. And I kid you not, I had this intention. I was like, I know there's more to me that for whatever reason I'm not translating on social media. And I don't know what the fix is, but let me just lean into this question. So I'm sitting and meditating one day, and I'm like, okay, like my intention is I want to create that same vulnerability and connection with, you know, in my business with the people I serve, whether they pay to come to an event or they just passively follow on social media. Like I want connection with people. I want them to know more of me, business-wise. So I'm sitting and I'm meditating, and I get this clear vision of like posting that video that I shared about being single and just kind of like sharing my heart a little bit more.
That was good. I love that.
And I remember like I'm mid-meditation, and I was like, because it's like one of those things that like it's so clear when I hear it, and it's like I knew it was the answer. It's like your intuition knows. Yeah. And of course it was the thing that felt most tender, because I went through a really public divorce, or you know, at least people saw the relationship publicly. The divorce itself wasn't super public, but you know, and here I am single, and you know, I haven't blocked like any of my like him or any of my like the friends and family that were tied to us. And I got a very clear directive, like, you're going to post this and you're not going to block certain people. You're just going to like put it out there. And like when I tell it, like everything in my whole nervous system, like I had to do breath work before, like I had to go to the gym after, but I got so curious about that. Cause again, I think what people saw, so it was just this video about like, I just shared my heart. I shared like, I'm single. I would really love to meet someone. And you know, here's kind of what I'm looking for. And I just kind of followed what my intuition showed me, and I wanted it was a place for me to tap into the energy that I wanted people to feel from me. So it wasn't about the words I was saying, or even about like I wasn't trying to have it produce a certain result. It was, can I free myself enough to tap into this way of expressing that I know is in there and it's not translating on social for whatever reason. So that was kind of the catalyst. And again, just I knew enough from how that felt in my soul to know. And so this is maybe for any of you who like really want to show up more that way. So maybe like leaning into the edges of like, it doesn't mean you have to go on Instagram and show your man. Maybe it's you showing up and being like, you guys, I was just on this podcast and I was talking about how like I am so afraid to show my relationship and how happy I am because I don't want to fail again. So maybe it's just, you don't even need to share him with us, but like share your heart with us and see how that feels.
Yeah.
And like allow yourself to lean into more of that vulnerability, because what's wild is the connection that has resulted from it. No men. We have not connected with any men, to be clear. But the connection with what was my original intention, to connect with the women that I serve, to connect with the women that want to see themselves in my story.
Yeah.
And so, and then I kind of went on a tangent for about 30 days. I did this like Instagram 30-day posting challenge, but then I like literally had, if you notice, I have not posted since. But that's the biggest thing people will say to me is like, they resonate with just it's not even what I'm saying. It's that I'm just showing up and I'm saying what's true for me in that moment. And then I'm pushing the edges of like, let me just show up with no makeup and notice like how that feels. Oh, that felt pretty good. Like that but in a previous season that would have felt really triggering. Like I need to have hair and makeup ready and I want to say this thing. So I'm just using it as my playground to show me, again, the edges of where I'm not actually willing to be vulnerable, purely with the intention that like this is the energy I want to call in within my next partnership, but I get to practice it here. I get to practice it in my friendships, like where I say the thing. I get to practice it in the dynamic with my mom, because like when I look at all these little moments, again, if you think about the biggest desire on your heart right now, I always say this, the moment we ask for expansion, the moment we ask for the next thing, we will immediately start to be shown where we're limited. But we're usually shown where we're limited in other areas of life. And it's showing us the same breadcrumb, the answer to why you haven't yet connected with that thing you want. And something I deeply want is partnership. I know, like I'm a lover girl.
Me too.
I am just like here to love. And for the time being, you know, that is not in my life right now in a romantic partner, which is just giving me this beautiful opportunity to see all the love that actually is here. There's so much love in my world that I just get to keep nurturing that, knowing that, again, a desire isn't placed within us unless there's a match for it. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And I get to practice being it before I can receive it.
Okay, going back to the posting and being vulnerable, have you ever come up on something where you're like, I am convicted, I'm going to post this, and then you're like, that's too edgy, I'm not going to talk about that?
So I think my process is more that I'll get like the intuitive download, and a lot of times I'll film it and post it right away, because I know if I give myself that window, I can probably talk myself out of it. I would say like the biggest one would have been that video about being like sharing the journey about being single and wanting partnership. And so I knew enough to know that like I couldn't even go to sleep that night without posting it, or I was going to talk about it. Like that's just what happens. Your logical mind kicks in. Every fear you have about like, what does this mean? So I'm sure there will be more, because now I realize like, okay, I pulled all the way back. Now it's time to like carry that momentum forward, right? Like you have a business that you want to promote and you're kind of silent right now. So, you know, like it's more comfortable for me to share like the podcast clips and reels. And it's like, I know that what my soul is asking me to do is just sit face to camera, makeup or not. That one actually doesn't trigger me that much anymore. So it's like, but just express. And then I think the part where I do get triggered, so this is maybe a better answer, is I was having this thought the other day. I'm like, but what if I change my mind later? What if I say something that's true for me now?
Yes.
It's more of that, like being embarrassed that if I say something now, will I change my mind later? But that's probably what people need to see, is to be like, you know what? A week ago I believed this, and then I had these other conversations, And now I've opened up my perspective.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably like the medicine the whole world needs right now.
We talk about that a lot on this platform.
Yes.
We've had whole episodes that were like, do not hold me to this. I may change my mind next year.
Or we posted a few weeks later. I'm like, I don't really still believe that, but whatever, run it.
Right? But like, if we talk about what humanhood is,
Yes.
we're all here in this go around, at least, figuring this out.
Yes.
Of course we're going to change. Of course our ideas are going to change. But I don't necessarily give myself that permission to change publicly. So that's the part where it gets a little sticky for me. So thanks for calling me out on that without realizing that you were. Because I'm like, that's part of why I'm holding back now. I'm like, I have so many things to say about like this growth and expansion journey. And then the moment I think to film something or share it publicly, literally 48 hours later, I'm like, that's probably not that significant anymore. But in the moment, I was like that. So I need to trust my own intuition that in the moment I feel the energy around it is typically the moment to share it.
Yeah.
Because I believe like that's probably some energetic contract. Like someone needs to hear it in that moment. If I sit on it too long, it's probably not even going to land. Or if I try to film it too many times, try to get it perfect.
Right.
Not going to have the same conviction. It's not going to land the
It's-
same.
It's like so for how I want to show up going forward, it is so much more of like, what's the energy I feel in the moment? Like, is it honest? Is it true? Is it the most honest, most true, most authentic delivery, perfect or not? And like, that's what I want to keep practicing putting forward, because and this is a lot of the feedback that I get, even like down to, they're like, your hair is always so perfect. I did a podcast and the host, I love her, named Samantha. She was like, I just want to mess up your hair. I was like, oh, is that, go for it. Like,
Intrusive thoughts.
like,
I
right?
do want to just go like this.
Again, I don't see myself this way because I'm just living the embodiment of Lindsey. I'm like, it's messy, like life, messy, it's imperfect, it's this, it's that. And still what I keep getting reflected back to me is we're seeing perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like, but also owning that, like, a lot of what people are seeing is I do have my shit together.
Yeah.
I have my shit together emotionally. I have my in some ways I don't, but I also don't need to overcorrect and be like, look how messy I am. Like, no, my apartment, my cabinets are organized. Okay? Like my shit is in order, and I also have so many parts of myself that are raw and authentic and messy. So it's like, what I think we can sometimes overcorrect and think being vulnerable and authentic is like making up a mess to share. Like,
Yes.
We
It's
just
all of
talked
We talked about that
I had a
too.
whole therapy session the
Yeah.
other week with my therapist
Yeah.
saying like, I feel like I feel misunderstood. Everyone thinks everything's so perfect and buttoned up. And I'm like, there's more to me. And then I'm like, why do I care to explain to you, who is watching my content, who I've never met, that there's more depth to me when I know the depth to me? But I've had this like overcorrecting urge to like explain and like show more out of wanting to overcorrect, not because that was what was authentic in the moment.
So good.
So I can feel you on that. Absolutely.
But then also it's like, again, I just pay attention. I think it's all market research. I just know, like, your words mean so much, like how you were impacted by like the specific shares that, again, to me felt natural, because that's how I show up in my friendships. But I guess I just realized I don't really show a lot of that publicly. So it has been encouraging in the best way to keep leaning into that, because I feel more free. I feel the most free I've ever felt. And that's ultimately, I think, the journey that we're on is to find that true emotional freedom to just be.
Yeah.
And be okay with how it's received, how it's not received, how others may perceive it, or if it triggers something in them. I think I'm learning newly just how to be in my own experience, always coming from love and always coming from, again, my most authentic version of self in that moment, but realizing that I don't get to control how that interacts with someone else's human experience.
Right.
Despite my deep desire to control everything and everyone.
Okay, I want to dive into the aftermath, because I'm like, there's a new side of you now that gets to be single and sexy and fun, and I'm like, how is, like, because okay, this was my experience. You go through the heartbreak, you go through the deep healing, the grieving, and sometimes the grieving comes in waves, but then you get to the point where you're like feeling alive again, and you're feeling fun, and you're feeling saucy.
I'm like, I do. How did you know?
Yeah, I know because I've lived it myself, you know? And so I'm just like, what is single Lindsey like? Like, what do you do for fun? How does Lindsey play now that you have this different freedom and you are in a different chapter of who you are? Like, what does that look like? Even you sharing that you were microdosing the mushrooms, which I love that, by the way. I'm a huge fan of mushrooms. I just did some this past weekend in the forest and it was amazing. But I'm like, how does Lindsey play? Like, does Lindsey like to go shake ass? Like, what does she do?
Yeah. So she does. She just does. Yeah, like I've for sure like felt called even just more recently back into dance. Dance shows me everywhere. I'm still not free. Oh, it's so uncomfortable.
It's so vulnerable.
It is.
So especially like I do have like an inner like it's like hip hop, it's swaggy, where like I was a cheerleader growing up, so even the movement was so controlled and stiff and more like precise. So periodically like leaning more into that, but you know, I think to the disappointment of every single one of my girlfriends, like I haven't had this like salacious return to the dating scene. I think I'm just true to who I am. Like I've always like really held, especially like physical intimacy in like it's just such a sacred thing.
Of course.
I think like I've just honored that I know people are like excited for me to be dating, but also at the same time, like this is my body and this is my soul and my spirit. And so like not dating from a place of trying to fill a wound. You know, it's like you may think you're super healed, but then you get out there and you start dating. Like I actually had a beautiful relationship that was about 7 months that was completely offline because again, I was just like letting that be my own experience. And it ended in a way that, I chose to end it because I was seeing that it was a repeat of like similar patterns at the shiniest person that like everything on paper. And then you have to be honest when you're like, nope, feel this energy. You felt this energy before of abandoning yourself and dimming yourself. And this person isn't doing that. It's activating this thing in you, which kind of helped me see some deeper layers that I hadn't. I think when the divorce happened, then I went into protection mode financially and just like really kind of locking in that I didn't get to do some of the deeper emotional processing until I met someone else that activated the same wound again. So that was so hard. I was like so sad. Like end of last year. And so, I've just like honestly, I think in every moment just come back to that question, like what's most loving to me right now? And so it's a lot of like romanticizing myself and my own life and like developing a deeper connection with my own body and like my own desires. And then just really being open to maybe again, like I'm so good at, even if I look at like calling in that last relationship, there was a list. The list wasn't specific physical things. It was like more like, what is the energy of this person? I got the whole list and it still was like, because of where I was at in my own healing, I was still attracting from my wound. I was attracting from this thing that I still hadn't kind of like advanced spiritually out of. And I don't say that as like I still need to do more work on myself. I'm just like, oh, how cool to be able to see myself. So even like dating and like having fun with that, like literally going into it to be like, show me, keep showing me where I'm still not really like aligned with what I say I want. And then giving me these opportunities to, I was saying this to a girlfriend the other day of like spending a little time on apps and things and just treating that as like, this is my playground to practice in. Again, I'm great at this within my female friendships. I'm not great at expressing what I want and need to men, and I'm like realizing that. So I get to put in the practice reps of doing that. So it's it's going how it's going. There are no updates on that.
Dude,
but
yeah, go ahead.
Right? It's like, but then just falling in love with like my own life and just really like my life truly is so full, but not, again, overcorrecting in having such a full life that I'm not keeping space for someone.
Yeah.
A lot of right now, my current spiritual lesson, not that you asked, but it's more, so what do I do with my time? This. I go on rabbit holes and I'm in like, you know, ChatGPT, like, okay, if you didn't know anything about me just based on my astrology chart, what is my soul here to do? You know,
I put in that prompt one time too. It's going around on social media.
I haven't put in that prompt and now I want to.
Human design,
my human design and my astrology chart, and it just keeps telling me like I'm here to experience deep transformation and then communicate. A lot of mine is like my sun is in Capricorn in my 3rd house, so a lot of like communication, using my voice, you know, but it's truly like my energetic transmission. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing for fun, is analyzing my soul. But what I'm noticing is, like, again, if you look at the pattern, so I'm looking at like what's feeling crunchy right now around my finances, because the other part of the divorce was it was a complete financial reset. And this is something that I've been talking more openly about, especially as a woman, I think, that's perceived online as like successful. And I do, like, the business itself is successful. And a lot of what happened, and I now can see why it had to happen this way, when my financial safety net was taken away, just due to some of the things that happened, plus then I had 2 launches that didn't go the way that I had planned. It put me in a financial place where I was like, what am I not seeing about my relationship with money? Which then led me to like, what am I not seeing about my relationship with the masculine in my life and structure, like the masculine energy in my life? So a lot of what I'm doing to prepare for, again, what's next, business and romantically, is it's so unsexy, but it's like putting structure into the minute areas of my life, following a budget for myself, for my business, looking at where I actually have wanted someone else to come in and be that masculine structure when I haven't provided it for myself. So that's what I do for fun, Mel. Thanks for asking.
Wow.
What a part, like, I may as well just be wearing a sweater vest right now. Please. Legit, like, I don't turn on the TV. I'm so boring. Like, I literally just sit in my own thoughts and process things like that.
Wow. Well, shit,
say about me.
Yeah,
Can you wear this sweater vest to Powerhouse?
It might be an alter ego.
Maybe.
She might come out in it at one point.
That might have been a surprise, and you just ruined it.
Oh my gosh. When you started bringing up going on the apps, dude, I remember, like, that is such a personal development process. Like, going into the dating world
like
and putting
steroids.
Dude, putting yourself, first of all, I had so much resistance to putting myself on one of those apps.
So did I. That's why I did it.
Oh, yeah. No, literally, because I was here for somebody else's podcast event, and one of the relationship coaches was here, and she was like asking me about my dating life, and I was like, yeah, I really deeply want partnership. And I was just like, oh, so what are you doing to make that happen? And I was like, nothing. She's like, are you dating? No. Putting yourself out there? No. You want any dating apps? No. I was like, she was like, why? I was like, honestly, my ego's too big to be seen on a dating app. That's what I told her. I was like, I don't want to be seen.
That's honest.
I don't want to be seen
true.
on it.
That's
I was
true.
like, I don't want anyone to see me and know that I'm out here looking, you know? And then she was like, well, if they see you on it, then that means that they're on it. So I was like,
Good point.
you're right. You are so right. So anyways, I broke through that barrier and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I need to open myself up, right? But same exact thing that you said. It was like, it was such an opportunity to exercise my grown woman energy. Like, going on a couple dates and then being like, sorry, you know, I'm just really not interested. You're a great guy. I'm so glad we met, but this is just not for me. I'm not feeling a romantic spark. And just feeling like good about saying that and not letting things linger because a guy is so nice or he's like, you know, like trying to give him a no, girl. The chance was the first date. This is like, you don't like him. You don't like him, you know?
I know.
And so it was such an exercise for me. And I didn't find anybody on there, but I found more of me on there. So I can relate to that because I was just like, and then same thing for you. Everything that I thought I wanted, I realized, it's a soul thing for me. There's like this checklist of like, oh, he's got his own thing going on and he's this and whatever. And then I'm like, but I don't want you to touch me. Like, don't even try. I'm like, oh, okay. There's like, for me, I realized there's a soul thing.
Yeah.
And my soul is so awake to knowing when that's present, you know? And shout out to my boo now, because we definitely have that. Which I'm really, really grateful for. But that season of exploring yourself as this version, the woman on the other side of the relationship, the woman on the other side of the grief, having that solo time, being alone more often than not, and then just like revolutionizing your relationship with yourself, and then being able to go out into the world, because like you hermit crab for a little while, you know, you really do go inward for a while, but then when you are like fully ready to step out, and then it's time to exercise and really be outwardly expressed as this version of myself in the foreign lanes, not in the regular, like you said, in your friendships and stuff like that. That's easy. But going out again as like the woman who's on the market is a very different thing. I remember when I first started going out, I felt awkward.
Oh, the first like date post divorce was so awkward. Like I felt like I shouldn't be there. Like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah, but it's also like I got a lot of swag and a lot of charm.
Then I found out really quickly, like I'm so good at flirting.
Yeah,
Like I'm actually super magnetic. Like I was like, I'm falling in love with me. Like this person is literally just the mirror for me, my obsession with myself. Right
yeah,
now. That's really how it should be.
yeah.
That's the cheat code. It is.
Yes.
This date is fantastic because of me.
Because of me, but actually,
Yeah.
like I'm having fun because I'm a fun person.
Yes.
But then also I had to realize that, because then I think I thought I really was interested in certain people that maybe I wasn't as interested in, because I'm just again like I'm just truly like having such a great experience of being me in this moment.
Yes.
You know, it's not like an obsession with self of like
Right.
in that way. It truly is like, no, I remember the moment that I kind of made the decision, like, I think I'm ready. I remember announcing to my girlfriends, like, fun and flirty Lindsey has entered the chat. It was last spring. But it was, again, it wasn't even because of the people I was meeting. It was an energy I was tapping into within myself. And this is like the same in business. It's the same in any area. It's, you know, the external thing is always just a mirror. It's a mirror for how we're feeling in ourselves. So it gave me a healthy perspective. I had some bumps along the way, some fun stories, you know, in the initial dating phases, but yeah, it just shows me more and more of me. You said it perfectly, you know?
Yeah. And for me now that I got to experience me in my fullness as this version of Melanie, because, you know, everyone's like, I want to get back to who I used to be. No, like there's no going back to her.
She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead and gone a long time ago. And now I'm this completely new version of me, and I love her and I love it here. And now that I'm in a new relationship, my work has been to maintain her and to keep fueling and feeding her and to not let her get lost again, you know, because I did let that,
Which is a whole practice in itself.
oh, it is. And then so it's also like that's the portion of me was choosing somebody is I've gotten to being her, this version of me. Can you hold that? Can you feel that? Can you feed that and embrace it? So then that's like another part of now the partnership now, or the prerequisite now is like, are you going to put any sort of water on my flame, or are you someone who can keep it burning now that I know how bright it can burn? So that's been my practice as of late, and it's been really enjoyable. I've been loving it here.
I love, and
Updates.
I'm like soaking in every bit of it, because that's what I realized. Like my pattern in relationships is, again, coming from the fear that all of me is too much. My emotions are too much. My needs are too much. My ambition, or, you know, this public version of me, which is a part of me.
Yeah.
You know, the stage version of Lindsey is still me. And I'm also equally the one who's going to be super cuddly, no makeup, in sweats, and like just troll mode 24/7. So realizing that what I want is someone who can hold all of that, but then in order to have that, I get to be that and let go of or notice when the fear that someone will leave if I'm too much shows up, because that's my work to overcome.
Yeah.
It's like my work to, no, can I be all of me no matter how it's received, knowing that that is the pathway to actually calling in the person who can be a match. At least that's my understanding of it. It sounds like that's been your experience. It's
Yeah.
like, then getting to be vulnerable in exercising that part of me in a relationship when I was talking with one of the practitioners that I've worked with. You know, we talk a lot about, I'm trying to find my way home to a place I've never been before. I've never embodied like that version of myself fully in a relationship, or even maybe like just in my life. Like I'm finding a lot of the layers that are coming off now are still the ones where I think like, if I went that bright, like, would that be okay? Like, would people still want to stay? Would they want to listen? Would they want to? And I don't think it's even bright. I think the previous version of me thought that the too muchness came from, like the bigness of expression maybe, or like the public success. I think now the real fear underneath is like, can I be all, like my power is rooted in that authenticity. Like I can be on the stage, I can be here with you, I can be no makeup talking to camera, and it's like it's consistent and it's powerful because you can feel that woman is like gone through a journey to embody a version of herself. It's like that's even more vulnerable to me. Like, is there someone out there who is willing to, and not just willing to, but wants and is so ready to love all of that?
Yeah.
I've never been the person to love all of that. So I get to go first, and then of course there's going to be a match for it. That's that's universal law. There has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I'm excited for whatever the future holds for you.
Me too.
Yeah. And so speaking of the future, you've got the 10-year anniversary Powerhouse Women event coming up.
Wild.
I'm so excited for it. Before we wrap up the conversation, I do want to dive into a little bit of the essence of this year. I mean, a whole decade. You're this version of you now.
Yeah.
So for all of our listeners who are probably already planning to go or are wanting to go or don't even know that it exists and they don't even know how much they need it, what have you been cooking up for this year? What's the essence of the 10th year anniversary Powerhouse Women event?
I mean, it's always been a reflection of my own personal journey. And so while the elements that have always been there will be there, really deep conversations around business and what it is to be a woman who's growing and expanding in her life, how does that impact her relationships? How does it impact her finances? You know, you can always expect to be surrounded by people who will expand you. They'll show you what's possible. And also, you'll see yourself in their story. You'll see yourself in their struggles. Like, we're pretty open, and I choose speakers who are just as willing to be open about the things that they're struggling with now.
Yeah.
Not the thing they overcame 10 years ago. Like, the purpose is literally like, yes, we're on a stage, so there's this, I think, dynamic where if I'm sitting in the audience, I might believe that because someone is sitting 2 feet off the ground higher than I am, that they have something figured out that I don't. We break all that down pretty quickly. I mean, you've been in the room enough times to kind of know that that's the truth.
It's so great.
Yeah, and I think the women I'm attracting into my life, or even the friends I've always had, are just willing to go so much deeper because I'm leading the way in those conversations. So this year is going to have a lot of that. And you know, I was just talking with my friend and makeup artist who I've worked with for years right before I came here. And I said, you know, I always sit with, again, the vision comes to me. Everything from even what I wear comes to me. It's all like, it's a spiritual experience. I'm just someone who works for the vision called Powerhouse Women. And the vision is coming in, and I think it's a lot different than what people would think you would do, even what a version of me thought I would do to celebrate such a milestone, 10 years. And I think we're going to strip it back. I think we're going to strip it back a lot to like the core essence of what this movement and this community has always been about. And I think it's going to be really beautiful, really impactful, specifically for anyone who's like just in it right now. You're either starting to just feel that tension of like, I know there's another version of me that I'm being called to step into, and it's terrifying because I've never been that version. Or what if I have to give things up? Or what if it changes the parts of my life I really love? But it's ultimately a space that I curate for myself and for everyone else to remember how powerful we really are over everything in our experience. Not to say that it'll all go the way we want, But even and especially in those moments that it doesn't, that we have so much more power over our experience of it. And that's true freedom. That's the thing that's going to grow your business. That's the thing that's going to call in the most aligned relationships. It's when you remember, like, the power has always been in you. And so it's going to be a beautiful celebration of that journey over the last 10 years and the 10 plus years to come. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
I
thank
love
you.
it. I was telling Casey, I'm like, they have matcha on tap, girl. Like, what?
Please bring that this
Matcha on
The matcha
tap?
will be there. As far as I know, the matcha will be there.
Oh,
Again,
God.
I don't get into all those details anymore, but yeah, we have just the most incredible partners and vendors who've been with us, who've really been on this ride. And then, there's things that are shifting this year that I'm like, oh, I didn't see that shifting. Whoa, like, that to me was such a core tenet of the event. And then I got to step into, like, but do I know that it has the same value even without that, without the thing that made it extra shiny? I mean, you guys will appreciate this. So there was a trajectory. This started last year when we knew this was going to be year 10, where, I mean, we started to talk, like, big, and this idea got thrown around of bringing in, like, live music, like, and so we're like, what if we had, like, a drum line? It was this, like, female drum line. So we go searching. I find the drum line that played Coachella with Beyonce, and they said yes to coming. Now, it was very expensive, so we knew this is like a vision board moment. And so as we're going into this year, I'm like, man, are we bringing in Beyonce? Is this Baychella? And you know what? I said this to my team the other day. I said, you know what? I think this is more Bieberchella.
Yes.
Like, I think, like, that's like what this year is calling for.
Yes.
And as much as I love, like, it would have been such a fun surprise to tell people, like, this is the drumline that played Coachella with Beyonce. That's sort of, again, that's like the version of it that a previous me would have thought 10 years had to look like.
Yes.
And I'm being very lovingly by my soul, just like, come here, sweetie, like, this is actually this, and it's always been this, and it's okay for this year. If not, it's going to be more impactful for you to just own this moment, that it doesn't need all of that in order to be significant.
Yes.
And so that's been an again, this event works on me first. So when I tell people, like, this will fundamentally shift the way you see and experience yourself, I can say that with my full chest because I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, and I cannot wait to share it with everybody. And I'm so grateful that you're both going to be there. You're going to get to be there for your very first experience. So we'll just throw you right in the deep end.
Yes, please do.
Bieberchella.
Bieberchella. Yeah, I love it. Can you share more about the dates and how people can attend?
Oh, yeah, that would probably be helpful, right? Yeah. So it's August 14th, 15th, 16th. We kick off the weekend with the most epic pajama party, which is both a fun social media moment, but it's super intentional because, let's be honest, like, it is intimidating for me to walk into that room, and I'm the host of it. Like, to walk into a room of powerful women who are on this journey can feel really intimidating. So we just start with a big PJ party to remind all of us, like, no, like, this is who we all are.
We're all girls here.
We're all just girls.
Yeah.
And then we get decked out to whatever level of self-expression feels right for you, Saturday and Sunday. So 14th, 15th, 16th of August, powerhousewomenevent.com is the URL, and all the details are there.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
And where can people find you, Lindsey, and your podcast?
Yeah. So everything, as far as the brand, is under Powerhouse Women, which makes it really easy. So Powerhouse_Women on Instagram. Powerhouse Women is the podcast. And then my Instagram is @Lindsey Marie Official. And that's where you can find more soon to be coming, friends. This is accountability. Yeah. Showing up, just sharing more of this side of the journey.
Yeah.
And the parts that I think people can resonate with, and it just humanizes, again, to come back to the beautiful intention of your show, it just humanizes people who we can so easily put on pedestals. I do it too. And to remember, like, we really are, my sister says this all the time, she's like, we're just girls figuring this out for the first time.
Yes.
Like, this thing called life, still figuring it out at 42.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do it alone.
No. Oh, yeah. Lindsey, thank you so much. This has been a very fulfilling conversation. I know it has for the both of us. So I appreciate you for coming and sharing your love in that beautiful bright blue outfit. Thank you again for being here. We hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. If you've never been to the Powerhouse Women event, this would be the year. If you were really, really feeling into this conversation and you're feeling that pull, follow that nudge. And if you do come this year, make sure that you come and find Casey and I and say hi and let's take a selfie. We love you guys. We appreciate you for listening. And until next time, bye.
Oh my gosh, could you be any cuter?